Hello lovelies, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Mokemba Gifts. I'm the founder of The Legal Critic. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe now and don't forget to click on the notification post so that you'll be the first to know whenever I make a video. Thank you. Okay guys, so today I'll be talking about the chapter 2 of the Constitution. If you know you've not watched my previous video where I talked about the chapter 1 of the Constitution, please go back to that video and watch it, as it will give you a guideline as to what I'm talking about and you will appreciate my opinion better. Thank you very much. Stay tuned. Chapter 2 of the Constitution is made up of 11 sections, which started from section 13 down to section 24. In order to analyze chapter 2 of the Constitution, I'll be reading out some of the sections. Section 14 of the Constitution, which is part of chapter 2, provides as follows. Subsection 1 states that the federal government of Nigeria shall be a state based on the principle of democracy and social justice. Subsection 2 states as follows. It is hereby accordingly declared that sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom government through this constitution derives all its powers and authorities. The security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of the government, and the participation of the people and their government shall be ensured in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. The composition of the government of the Federation or any of its agencies and the conduct of its affairs shall be carried out in such a manner as to reflect the federal character of Nigeria and the need to promote national unity, and also to command national loyalty, thereby ensuring that there shall be no predominance of persons from few states or from few ethnic groups or other sectional groups in the government or its agencies. Sub 4 is of the opinion that the composition of the government of a state or a local government council or any of the agency of such government or councils and the conduct of the affairs of the government or the council or such agency shall be carried out in such a manner as to recognize the diversity of the people within its areas of authority and to promote a sense of belonging and loyalty among all people of the Federation. Wonderful section, beautiful provisions. What section 14 of the Constitution is saying is that Nigeria, being a federal state, has recognized its federal character, and whenever the government is carrying out anything, they should consider the fact that this is a federal state and there are many ethnic groups and many cultures and they have diversity of different ethnic groups. So whenever they are making policies or carrying out any activities, they should put into consideration these diversities. And whenever they are making some appointments, they should not always make one ethnic group to be predominant on the other. They should split it so that every ethnic group will be represented. That is what section 14 is just saying. Section 15 provides as follows. Now, for the purpose of promoting national integrity, it shall be the duty of a state to provide adequate facilities for and encourage free mobility of people, goods, and services throughout the Federation. The state shall foster a feeling of belonging and involvement among various peoples of the Federation to the end that the nation shall override sectional loyalties. The state shall abolish all forms of corruption. So basically, what section 15 is trying to say is that it is the duty of the government to provide adequate facilities and to encourage mobility of people. Encouraging mobility of people is by providing adequate roads. And not just mobility of people, mobility of goods, mobility of services. You can transport your goods from this state to this other state. It is the duty of the government to provide adequate facilities in order to enhance such mobility. Section 16 provides that the state shall harness the resources of the nation. The state in this context means the Federation, and also state governments. So the state shall harness the resources of the nation and promote national prosperity and an efficient and dynamic economy. Every citizen on the basis of social justice and equality of status and opportunity. The state shall control the national economy in such a manner as to secure the maximum welfare, freedom, and happiness of every citizen on the basis of social justice and equality of status and opportunity. So basically, what Section 16 is trying to say is that the state's wealth is just held, the government holds this wealth in trust for the citizens of the people. So it is the duty of the government to use those wealth, to use the state money or the state resources to promote national prosperity among citizens. And the security of the citizens should be their maximum welfare and the happiness of the citizens within the state. So basically, the citizens should come first even before the government, and the government uses the state money in order to secure the happiness of the citizens. Section 17 states as follows: in furtherance of the social order, every citizen shall have equal rights, obligations, and opportunities before the law. Let me say it again. Every citizen shall have equal rights, obligations, and opportunity before the law. Government actions shall be humane. So basically, what this section is trying to say is that everybody is equal in the eyes of the law, and everybody is entitled to equal rights, equal opportunities before the law. And whenever governments are making any actions, they should also make actions that are reasonable in the eyes of an average man. Section 18 states that the government shall strive to eradicate illiteracy. And to this end, government shall, and as when practicable, provide free, compulsory, universal primary education, free university education, free adult literacy program. Let me say it again. The government shall strive to eradicate illiteracy, and to this end, the government shall, and when practicable, provide free, compulsory, and universal primary education, free university education, free adult literacy program. Now, from the foregoing, it is safe to say that the word "shall" in these objectives means mandatory. The government shall. So it is mandatory upon the government to provide the stuffs for the citizens. The government has to uphold this as at when practicable. Well, I will start by saying that these sections are greatly written. They are wonderful provisions which will interest both the reader and the listener. But it is all a nullity. Reason is because there is no enforceable right on it. The major flaw of this section is that the Constitution failed to put a check on the government. Where there is an event of non-compliance with this chapter, what will happen? How can someone enforce these objectives of government? When a governor or a president or any executive arm or agencies are not doing the provisions of this constitution or are not carrying out their obligations as stated in this provision, what would happen? What will be the enforcing force? This means that where the government fails to do any of these objectives, there are either through their actions or inaction, it cannot be reviewed or enforced by the court of law. Nobody can enforce it. And I would say that this is a major flaw of the Constitution. Okay, so my reason for saying this is with respect to Section 6, Sub 6, Paragraph C of the Constitution, which provides as follows: that the judicial powers vested in accordance with the following provisions of this section shall not except as otherwise provided by this Constitution, extend to any issues or question as to whether any act or omission by any authority or person, as to whether any law or any judicial decision is in conformity with the fundamental objective and directive principles of the state policy as stated in Chapter 2 of this Constitution. So basically, what this provision is trying to say is that there shall be no question as to whether there is an act or any omission of an authority, or whether there is any law or any judicial decision that is in conformity with this Chapter 2. So whether any actions are made in conformity or not, you cannot bring any judicial proceedings against it. So the Constitution on its own hosted out the jurisdiction of the courts with respect to Chapter 2 of the Constitution. This is a clear confirmation that the government do not want to be accountable to the people. They never had the intention of being accountable to the people. In my opinion, I will see it as an act of irresponsibility on the part of the government. What the drafters of the Constitution did was to subject their criticism to the media by stating in Section 22 of this same Chapter 2 that the press, that is the radio, the television, and other agency of the mass media, at all times shall be free to uphold fundamental objective contained in Chapter 2 and uphold the responsibility and accountability of the government to the people. So basically what they are trying to say is that you can't go to court to ask me why I did not do or why I did not do my obligation as a governor or as a president. However, you can go to the media and talk about it. Basically, they do not want any binding force, and this is a part of irresponsibility on their end for just subjecting a crucial part of government. Because obviously, why do we need government in our society if not for us to be able to access basic amenities? And if they can't give us these basic amenities, they are saying we cannot enforce it. The best you can do is to go online and rant about it, but there is no enforcing power. I can decide to, I cannot decide to. When you finish making noise, I'll continue my own. I think it's an irresponsible act, and the drafters of this Constitution needs to amend Chapter 2 of the Constitution and expunge Section 6 sub 6 paragraph C of the Constitution. Also, no matter how you look at it, this looks like a mockery of the Constitution, because it shows how irresponsible the government will be for making their failure to do their mandatory objective not questionable in court. They don't want to be questioned. They just want us to go online and shout about it, and nothing will happen. Nobody can arrest them, nobody can question them, nobody can confront them. You just go online and talk about it like a debate, and it ends there. So this issue of non-justiciability of Chapter 2 of the Constitution has always been there. People have written about it, people have talked about it, even the courts have presided on it. And there was, sometimes over the years, the court was trying to say, if you read Section 15 sub 5 of the Constitution in accordance with Item 60, that it can be said to be justiciable. The courts tried in bringing out enforceability when combining two provisions of the Constitution in order to make it enforceable. Well, I would say that the provision of Section 6 sub 6 paragraph C is clear. And except it is eradicated out of the Constitution, then you cannot boldly say that this is something that can be enforceable. This is a clear deceit, and I'm calling on the drafters of the Constitution to look into Section 6 sub 6 paragraph C and expunge it out of the Constitution in its totality and make the government enforceable for their actions. They should be accountable for their actions. By the time you hold a governor in seat accountable for not doing what he or she is supposed to do, then they will sit up. If they are not the one messing it up, maybe the contractors they give these jobs to do don't go ahead to do it. When they are held accountable, they will, in other words, hold their agents accountable, and will have developments in the society. I think the major problem we are having is this unenforceability of these obligations. For goodness sake, this is the major reason why we need government. If this is the major reason why we need government, then why are you telling me that I cannot enforce it when you don't do it? It's just like beating a child and telling the child not to cry. This section of the Constitution needs to be eradicated out of the Constitution if we really want a progressive government. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. See you on my next video. On my next video, I'll be talking about chapter 3 of the Constitution. I'll be taking it chapter after chapter until I'm done with the Constitution. Please stay tuned. Don't forget to click on your notification post and also subscribe if you've not. Thank you. I love you. Bye.